I know I'm a few days out making this video, but I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys as to the recent Star Wars The Black Series pre-orders that went live on Thursday night. So I hope you enjoy and stay tuned, hopefully. Hello Fiends and collectors, this is me, Daniel East 1000, as I said, talking about the recent Star Wars The Black Series pre-orders that kind of got thrown at us on Thursday night. Quite nicely enough though, some websites did give us the heads up that this was going to be a thing that was happening. Big shout out to Star Action Figures, that was the site that I saw first share about this and was ultimately where I ordered from also. All these websites basically said, yep, 8 o'clock or so is when these pre-orders are going to go live, but that was all they could really tell us. We didn't get any information as to what was coming other than it was something Star Warsy. So after I finished work the next day, fortunately enough, some sites had leaked what was coming out. It was a bit of a mad dash choice as to what I wanted most, and I say me, I'm sure many others had that issue as well. And when 8 o'clock came around, I was constantly refreshing the Star Action Figures website, and of course I made my pre-orders. Although to be perfectly honest, I did kind of restrain myself because the day before and before that announcement about pre-orders was made, I placed a pre-order on a big item. I'm really glad I've pre-ordered it because I did really want that. But I think the real issue for me is 2 separate waves went up for pre-order that night, so I really didn't want to go too nuts, and I focused on 2 figures that I really wanted, which I will say as we get into them. But effectively 2 waves got released, and that's just over like £200 you're going to be spending on a whole bunch of figures if you did pre-order full cases effectively, of which I'd love to do, but I like to cherry pick my figures, and I don't know what it is, but I like to appreciate figures individually in their own right. I feel a little bit pretentious in saying that, given we're talking about plastic action figures, but for me, I like appreciating the characters that I've been waiting for the most, and the 2 that I pre-ordered, they've been figures I've been waiting for absolutely ages. And I do have to say at this point, I feel really gutted for you vintage collectors out there. I really want to see Hasbro pumping out and churning out more vintage collection 3x4-inch action figures. I've said it, and I'll say it again, it's tragic that they're only doing like 4 figures per wave, and the waves are just so few and far between. Given that Black Series, like I said, we've just had 2 waves up for pre-order. We're also waiting on the Attack of the Clones wave to be released. We've just had vintage carded 6-inch Black Series. It's a lot of Black Series, not to forget to mention the exclusives as well. God, I forgot about them. But comparing how much we've had for Star Wars the 6-inch Black Series compared to vintage collection, it's just absolutely tragic. And even I was kind of sat thinking before all these pre-orders went live, is vintage collection gonna get something? Completely no dice. Just hashtag save the vintage collection, Hasbro, please. It would have been a nice little breakdown if they did put something vintage collection, opposed to like releasing 2 waves of which by the looks of things are coming out at the same time, roughly August. That's what the slate is effectively. It could change obviously. Nonetheless, I am happy about the figures that we've got. Black Series collectors are being massively spoiled at the moment. Really spoiled for choice. Again, that's the reason why I really struggled as to what I was going to get. But with that little rant out of the way, we'll talk about this assortment first, of which consists of the Mandalorian Beskar armor, Admiral Akbar, Tebow, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker in Snowspeeder pilot gear, Clone Trooper, Stormtrooper, and Darth Vader. 2 kind of re-releases in there in the form of Luke and Vader. Luke was put on the vintage card, so if people did want to get a Luke and have it uncarded from the vintage one, that's great, that's fine. Not a big grumble for me, but it's a slight deterrent from me wanting to pre-order the whole set slightly. Darth Vader, again, it's a little bit been there, done that, but I do know people want a Vader and have maybe missed out in the past. New collectors may have missed out on him. So that's fair enough. Mandalorian and Beskar armor was always going to be the most desired figures from that assortment. I didn't pre-order it, and I'm kind of kicking myself now that I didn't, because most websites have pre-sold out of him, although I imagine, fingers crossed, that they'll get more of him. You can, I believe, still get him in full cases, but as a single individual figure, very difficult at the moment to get a pre-order on for him on his own, at least for UK collectors. But it's understandable because a new TV show, it's a show that people are really enjoying. Even I think non-Star Wars fans have really embraced that show, will probably want this figure as well, and it'll introduce them to this line, which is great, which is what we want. And it's nice to see that figure sold out and that there is a big demand for this guy. So I think he is the hot seller absolutely for this, and the one that everyone I think wants, myself included. Also from The Mandalorian we have the Stormtrooper, although I wish Hasbro would have grubbed this Stormtrooper up to make it more true to being a Stormtrooper from The Mandalorian. It utilises a new sculpt. I am looking forward to it. I've kind of moved past the whole ball jointed knees debacle. Still not entirely happy about it, but we're getting there, people. I am slowly moving away from ranting and raving about it. It looks like a great figure nonetheless. Would have been nice if it came with some additional little accessories, some different blasters perhaps, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to getting this one, and I'm sure people are going to army build it like crazy. We've also got Admiral Akbar, who I'm super stoked that we're getting. I'm sure many others are because of the memes of him. And again, one of the big gripes with the Black Series for me has been the lack of aliens. So I'm glad Hasbro's been addressing that. I'm glad we're starting to see more aliens in the form of Akbar, in the form of Plo Koon and Kit Fisto, and other waves that we've got coming soon. It's nice to see that Hasbro are starting to a little bit more embrace the non-human side of Star Wars, which is what it's kind of felt like through past waves, where it's just become very heavily human focused. And also it's great to see Tebow, even though I know a lot of people have been a bit like, well, how come we're getting Tebow first over the Ewok that's probably more iconic, which is Wicket. And I'm sure there's going to be a reason for that. I'm sure Wicket is definitely going to come, and I reckon, I have a small gut feeling Hasbro's going to do something special for Wicket, be it sooner or later. I know we've got the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary coming up soon, so they might do something for that. We'll just have to wait and see. So I think we've been desperately waiting for Ewoks for some time now, so it's great to see that these Ewoks are coming, and it's a nice little introduction with Tebow. So really pleased with him, and surprisingly the accessories that they gave with him. Also Coruscant Clone Trooper, which is nice, although I think a lot of fans like me were clamouring more so for a 501st Clone Trooper with the Ahsoka markings. I've ranted and raved about that a lot in my past videos, so we'll just keep it at that. It is nice to see more clones. It is a new sculpt as well, so it's going to be interesting to see that sculpt and how it works with the other Clone Trooper figures that we've got. Again, a nice inclusion, but I don't think it's one that I'm personally going to rush out to get, but I'm sure many others will, and more power to them obviously. And that wraps up the Wave 26 set. One thing actually I haven't mentioned, and I've only just got to it now, we've finally moved away from these tired red and black boxes and more into a more colourful, vibrant style of packaging that's a little bit more akin to the Marvel Legends action figures, which I'm really pleased about, although I have to admit it's going to be sad to see the lack of Gregory Titus artwork on these boxes. Farewell black and red, black and other colours with artwork on the spine as well. That's pretty exciting, I think, and just breathes a little bit more life into the line. I think just makes the characters pop a little more. And finally, the big one that did come as a surprise to most of us, the Star Wars Rebels re-release with one new figure. I bought nearly all the Rebels crew just before Ezra and Chopper were released. I managed to get my hands on Chopper, but I never did get Ezra because I foolishly didn't put a pre-order on for him. He sold out and I thought, oh, he'll definitely come back. Nope. I was kicking myself for the longest time for not having Ezra on pre-order. I think many other people were as well. That wave was just stupidly hard to find for most. And I have to give Hasbro massive kudos here for releasing all of the Rebels figures together, because I think if they just straight up released Zeb on his own, people would be sat there like, well, I haven't got this character. You'd be gutted. You'd be gutted if you can't have the full crew together, or at least not have a chance to have that full crew together. You would have maybe lost out sales on that Zeb figure, because I think Zeb is a very risky character to do. There is a demand for him, by all means there is a demand, but the problem is because they have been gradually releasing characters and characters have become slowly harder to obtain, some people have maybe thought, well, what's the point if I'm just going to get Zeb, I can't get the others. The fact that they've released them all together again and given people a chance, the opportunity to get them, is just really nice that Hasbro's done that. And I'm super pleased that I managed to get a pre-order in for Ezra and Zeb. Most websites I know were selling all of them together, and I think only Zeb on his own, but Star Action Figures was the one. I think it was maybe one other one, I can't remember the name of that site. They sold all of them individually, or you could buy them as a case, but they did say to you could only get like one of each Rebels member, because it's like they wanted as many people to get the opportunity to get them as they could. It does have to be said, Ezra and Ahsoka were the two figures that sold out insanely quick. The one cool thing about the re-releases is the fact that they've got the new face tech head sculpt technology, which not all of them utilise. So it's really cool to see that they've upgraded that, and for those who want to upgrade the figures, they can do. I'm personally fine with mine. I'm not a big stickler for that. It would have been cool to get a big box, like I said, if figures come through the mail. I'm really happy with the standard versions that I've got. It's just purely having a full Rebels crew complete, and Ezra is the one. He's the one that brings the circle together, and Zeb's like the cherry on top of that. He's a big cherry, not gonna lie. Zeb is huge. He looks absolutely massive. A very chunky figure. The only thing they could make me grin like a stupid idiot even more is if they released Agent Callus in his ISB gear. But that's just me being a little bit greedy. Yeah, what I love about this full assortment is if you combine all the boxes together, it creates this lovely artwork. And if you look at every single individual character, there's like little references to episode specific things to them in the spine artwork. So Ezra has the Pergil on his artwork, you've got for Hera the Ghost, you've got for Sabine Concord Dawn, just lots of cool little nods and references just on those artwork spines, and it looks beautiful when they're all combined together. It would have been so easy to have splurged on all these figures. I also think it's no coincidence that they've done away for Rebels, given a lot of the rumour reports that are going online at the moment about these characters potentially appearing in future Star Wars shows. Is it hinting that around about August time we might be getting a Mandalorian trailer or a reveal for I've heard rumblings about a sequel show to Rebels, but I'm not a theory channel, but there's something going on. There's a reason why, even after a couple of years of the show being done, we'd get figures re-released like this. If there was something not going on, there's got to be something. There's got to be something in that. There's got to be. For me, Ezra and Zeb were the big ones. They were the big ones because I've been waiting for them for so long. I love Rebels. It's one of my favourite shows, and to have a complete Ghost crew, as I'm sure I've said, it's just I'm super stoked. I'm seriously excited, and at least I've got time to save for not only them but the other figures. There's been a lot of pre-ordering going on from me, more than usual, but with that being said, with a lot of these pre-orders, it's kind of like a needs must deal, whereby if I want them, you kind of have to sort of do it. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys have pre-ordered, if you pre-ordered any. What are you excited for the most? And let me know in the comments down below as per usual. And this is me, Daniel East 1000, signing out, and thank you very much for watching.